Hey everyone, welcome to REDCap Tips and Tricks. In this video, we're going to look at the branching logic error message. So this is a message that will pop up when certain types of errors exist in your branching logic when you go to open a form or survey. So let me step into my test project and show you what it looks like. So here we've got the cat appreciation index. This is where I've created a situation that will generate this error. And this is what it looks like. So before you can go input any data on this form, it lets you know that those branching logic errors exist. It lets you know what fields they're on, and that you may have issues with any calculations or branching logic on this form until those branching logic errors are fixed. So what is REDCap talking about with this branching logic error? Because there are many types of mistakes that I can make in branching logic that won't generate this error. So when you see this error from REDCap, it specifically means that when REDCap tried to run the branching logic for some fields on this form, they got an invalid response. And the branching logic editor is actually pretty good about doing a lot of validation steps. It will check for odd numbers of quotes or parentheses. It will check at the time that your fields exist, and it won't let you save without that. However, there are ways that this can happen, right? Especially if we delete a field that was used in the branching logic for another field, that'll make the second field's branching logic invalid. Sometimes you can write branching logic and branch based on a checkbox option that doesn't actually exist. REDCap won't stop you from doing that. The other thing that will not cause this error is branching logic that doesn't align with the intended use. So it is still very important to test your branching logic, make sure that it actually does what you think it does. But if very specific aspects of your branching logic are set up incorrectly or have been made incorrect, this is when you'll get the branching logic error message. So what do we do when we get this error message? So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to look at the field names that are listed here as the branching logic error fields, and I'm going to copy and paste those into a text editor. So I just have Notepad++ open here. You could use Word, Notepad, whatever you want. And then I'm going to close out of that error, and I'm going to go to the code book. So here I am in the code book. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy my first field name and hit Control, got to click into my code book window, Control F, Control V, and this is where it immediately takes me. So this is my field that has the branching logic error. So now I'm going to look at the branching logic that I have for this field. So I'm going to copy this fella, put it right underneath that field name in my little text editor. And then I'm going to search for this ENR_CRC field and see what I may have done that would make this an issue. So you can see here, I've searched that ENR_CRC field format, and I am seeing it in a couple of pieces of branching logic. Where I'm not seeing it is as a field name. And so what this tells me is that ENR_CRC is a field I have deleted. It was probably a real field at the time that I built my branching logic, depending on what process I used, but now it does not exist. So I have to decide what I want to do with this information. Now, in this scenario, I'm going to decide that what I want to do about this invalid branching logic is just delete it. You know, that field that I was previously branching based on, I don't need the field anymore, so I probably don't need to change my flow based on that field. So I'm going to come in here and edit the branching logic, clear logic, save, and now you can see that that branching logic is gone. So if I come back into my record status dashboard and I go back into the record where I was seeing that error pop up, I still see that error pop up, and it's very easy at first to be like, oh, well, I didn't fix anything. It's important to check this list of fields here, because when I check that, I can see I did fix this. Cats1 isn't listed anymore. It's just that I also have errors in another field, Cats2, and now I need to go deal with that. So we're back in the code book, and let's go see what my branching for Cats2 looks like. So here on Cats2, I can see that I've got this branching logic. So I've got my MHX field, And let's go see, this is formatted for a checkbox field. So this is formatted to say, okay, if option 20 is checked for MHX. Let's go see what my options actually are for this MHX field. Let's paste that in there. All right. And here we go. So it does exist as a field, but when I look at my list of options over here, I have options 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I don't have 20. So in this case, this is what's making my branching logic invalid. I'm telling it to look for a checkbox option that doesn't exist. So in this scenario, I'm going to say that my mistake that created this error is that I just stuck an accidental 0 in there. So I meant to say if option 2 is selected, I accidentally put a 0 in there. And now I can close that, and that branching logic should actually work. And so now you can see we've successfully gotten rid of that error message. Now, I do want to just hop back into the designer real quick and show you something that you may have seen in passing as we were troubleshooting. Is that my branching logic for cats 3, so cats should be allowed on the furniture, is also wrong, but I'm not getting an error message for it. And so this is one of the many, many scenarios where I would find the branching logic issue from the fact that I don't see this field. So I'm expecting to see cats should be allowed on the furniture as a field. And when I go in, I do not see it. So because I don't see that field on my form, that's how I know to go look at this branching logic and say, okay, this isn't the branching logic that I intended to have either. All right, so I wrote my checkbox outcome wrong. Let's switch that to a 1. Now it's saying error in syntax. And so right now, because I'm editing in the logic editor, it is doing validation checks for me. And so now you get to see a scenario where it, as it's checking this logic, catches that that enrolled CRC field is no longer a field that exists. That's why it's saying error in syntax. It won't let me save like this. So I have to get rid of that section of it. And then I'm able to save my updated branching logic. And if I come into my record, I did say that I only want to see that field if the third option is checked for medical history. Third option is checked. And here I see my field caps should be allowed on the furniture. You may also find cases where you have layers of branching logic. So different fields are branched from each other. And as REDCap is going through, and some fields that are a few layers down in your branching logic, REDCap might not try to run those fields yet until other branching logic is trying to indicate that it should be shown. So there may be times when you do your branching logic fix, you come back to your form, and you get the error again, and it now says a field that it had not shown you before. It's the same process as before, just searching the code book, figuring out what kind of error is messing up the branching for that field as well. So I think we can leave it there for this error type. Thank you for joining me. Have a great day.